So as soon as we hit live, it's connecting into. So
okay, good.
so assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I believe we are now. Sunana Abdul Jabbar Suraj Guga. Yau muna da manya-manyan baki da yawa. Amma dai tunda akwai sauran mutum biyu da muke jira insha Allah su zo online. Bari mu fara da introduction. Hopefully by then sauran za su connecting. Bari zan ga if I can mute akwai cikin wasu da ke tracking wanda zai magana sai ne on mute din shi magana. Amma san ko da sa ɗina ba ne. So to Kisu bari mu fara da ke idan za ki mana introduce kai da kuma daga inda kike connecting yanzu. Will be great. Akwai sauran mutum biyu a Ahmad Buhari da Malam Yusuf Amoke da ba su connecting ba tukunna, so za mu iya mu fara ko da introduction ne kafin zo kada mu delay mutum da schedule like ko. Bilkisu bismillah. Yeah, ba na jin ki sosai from my end. I don't know idan daga wurin ku kana ji. It's a lot of static.
Hello.
Kamar network din ne. Hold on a sec. Bari mu gani. Okay. So kamar network din ne yake cracking nan ta wajen ta ko?
I think so. Akwai a lot of abin nan.
Okay. Bari in sake connecting. Bilkisu idan kina jin mu, if you can connect again. Kina jin mu kuwa? Okay. Na network ɗinki ne, if you can disconnect it, sake connecting da Allah. So bari mu je next kawai mu ci gaba da introduction kafin nan Bilkisu ta reconnecting. Seems akwai matsalar network. So Dr. Bako kai ne ke saman screen ɗina, bismillah sai ka gabatar da kanka daga inda kake connecting.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sunana Dr. Abdulaziz Tijjani Bako. Ina daga nan Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, kasar Amurka.
Masha Allah, barka da connecting. So Muhammad Abbas Usman, bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Sunana Muhammad Abbas Usman daga nan Katsina, Nigeria.
To masha Allah, Babangida bismillah.
Sunana Babangida Ruma, ina kira daga nan Katsina, Nigeria.
To masha Allah, ina ga yanzu mun samu Bilkisu is back online. Bilkisu bismillah. Ina ga issue din network din nan kamar daga side ɗinta ne.
Daga side din Bilkisu ne.
Bari mu jumping in kamar ga Malam Salisu nan yayi connecting. Malam Salisu bismillah, in za ka iya gabatar da kanka ka faɗi mana daga inda kake kira kuma.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi. Sunana Salisu Muhammad kuma ina daga nan Katsina ne, cikin birnin Katsina.
Masha Allah, bari mu koma wajen Bilkisu a wasu. Bilkisu bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Masha Allah, Bilkisu, it seems like network din daga nan side ɗinki is really poor. So bari dai mu ci gaba tunda muna da sauran mutum biyu, kila su ma network ne ke jawo problem connecting. Just a gurguje dan yi bayanin dalilin da ya sa muka yi creating wannan panel da kuma abin da za mu tattauna yau a takaice. Ko ba haka ba, ni sunana Abdul Jabbar Suraj Guga, ina connecting daga nan state of Missouri. Ga makwabci na nan Dr. Bako ba mu da nisa. So abin da yasa muke son mu tattauna yau actually, although there we've decided me magana da turanci, I think it will be much more universal and easier, but majority din mu muna jin Hausa, so it doesn't hurt also idan muka kind of bounce back and front. So based on other challenges that muke facing in terms of political atmosphere a gida, most especially arewacin mu yanzu, shi yasa I felt like this is essential, kusan ya zama dole mu fara samun irin tattaunawa kamar wa'innan, ko ba haka ba. And political matters, ko in ce affairs, has been really sensitive, more especially for us the younger ones. You know, it's very difficult in most cases to even be considered as a topic of discussion. Kila sai idan lokacin siyasa ya zo kawai za a ce ana magana siyasa. We want to just begin the conversation to see me dan diba wane taka rawar gani matasa za su iya yi ta harkan siyasa, more especially me solving wasu matsalolin da muke ciki yanzu, da kuma dalilan da challenges da mutum zai yi facing, da kuma dalilan da yasa involvement namu is so little even though we are majority a cikin Nigeria. So akwai tambayoyi kuma da na highlighting da nake so mu tattauna akai. Hopefully za mu dan samu dama we go in round table in most of the questions, maga yanda dukkan mu za mu kallo tambayoyin da muka sa gaba, kamar wani irin answer za mu samu round table, saboda most of us here ideas din mu are different, so we really want to hear from each party what do you think about some of these matters. So kuma zan diba dai ina ga based on yanda screen din mu yake, I believe kowa na kallon the same thing da nake gani. So Dr. Bako, I'll pressure you first. Typically, you are right next to my column, so you'll be the first to take some of these questions. Don fara daga sama and we work our way down. So
Okay.
the one day, if you have something to say, just stop me at any time. One is not. I just really want it to be interactive, so dukan mu can moderate and chip in, and just let me know what you need to do. So, Dr. Bako, let's start with you. Who, the ultimate question, really, why? Why must youths get involved in politics? Because I felt like it's not a matter of we should. It's more of we have to. Why must the youths, more especially in Nigeria, get involved with politics now?
Thank you very much for this question. I think there are a lot of reasons why the youth have to involve themselves in politics. First off, because we are the most affected, we are the majority, and that means we have a full stake at whatever is going on in the country. Secondly, because most of the time, if a responsible youth has much more ideas and understanding of the dynamics of the present condition that we are in, and also the solutions that are available. The oldies hardly know the things that are available right now, especially when you look at the technology that is fast evolving. I think if we look through this lens, we will understand that youth involvement in politics is extremely vital. So I think it's not a question of we should, but we have to, or we must get involved in politics, and not only just participate as supporters, but also as contributors and also leaders in the political arena.
Mashallah, thank you very much. So I'll go next, right to your column, to your left, inshallah, will be Salisu Muhammad. Salisu, can you go ahead and just in few seconds answer the question, why must youths get involved in politics in Nigeria, and why now? And I think we must have a frozen session, so I will just come straight down to Salisu. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum. So before I shed more light on the issue,
but also as contributors and
yes. Assalamu alaikum. Before I go further, I have to make what Doctor has just said. We have already involved into this politics that is currently taking place in Nigeria. But the fundamental problem is we are doing what they want. We don't have our own opinion. We always propagate and sells what they want. But the issue is we need to involve actively and we need to involve and display our ideology, unlike what is currently going on in Nigeria. You find out people that are educated, that even the mindset of the elite, of the
I think we are running through some network problems there. I think the network must be poor. So let's just scroll right down to Kisu, if you can hear me. Kisu? I think we still have there.
Basically,
okay, I think we're running into some network problems from there. So Babangida, Bismillah, Allah, can you go ahead and just elaborate and let's hear your answer to why must youths get involved with politics and why now?
Okay, thank you so much. When you talk about the politics, I think politics is something that people make change in society with politics, because if you look at the current situation, not only in Nigeria, like it's only somebody who actually into the position of government that make changes. And if you look at our young people nowadays, we have a lot of creative or talented young people who make positive changes, particularly when they engage in politics. So now, actually now is a time. Why I'm saying that is because if you look at the caliber of young people we have a smart young people, we have the caliber of young people we have eventually is the kind of people that we need in politics. Because if you look at the cycle, seeing the people have been running the government affairs for a really long time, they are still the same people running this affair. And that is the reason why for our backwardness, we don't move forward, not unlike other countries. So we need to give the young people, we need to give them the opportunity to serve, because we want to make a positive difference, positive changes in the society.
MashaAllah, that's great. Well, thank you. And I'm taking notes here, so I'll give some feedback and comment afterwards. Bukisi, go ahead and see maybe if your connection is stable now. The question is, why must youth get involved in politics and why now?
I believe the Nigerian youth have to involve themselves in politics because they understand each other more. They understand the kind of policy that work for them. They are in charge of their own future, and if they are not involved, nobody will do it for them. So they have to do it themselves. They have to put themselves together, support each other, and make a future for themselves. Because sitting around and waiting for others to do it for them, they see the world in their own way, while we see the world differently. And with the way the world is changing, the youth also have more idea of how the world moves around, like not the way those set of people that are in charge now have their own ideas. So we have to they have to give a way to the youth to see the world their own way. So they have to involve. They have to get involved in everything. They have to get involved in policy making. They have to get involved in also making sure everything is going smoothly with the entire political system. So I think they have to get involved.
Okay, so I think the network is really staticky from the side, so I'll go ahead and mute from my end and see if that's any better. So Dr. Mako, you mentioned something really important, right? So we need to not just get involved, but how do we contribute, right, to the political system? And same thing pretty much that Babangida said. So from your end, how do you think we can contribute to the political environment, and how can we really protect our interests they are being used?
I think the first one is that we have to think about the ways in which we can participate. And as I earlier mentioned, we have to actively get involved. And by actively being involved, it means that we have to start politics right from the grassroots, which means at party levels, at ward levels, at the local government levels, at the senatorial district levels, to the state level, and at the national level. But it is said that politics is local, so we have to understand the environment around us, and that would help us to navigate the kind of places we want to go. But I don't want to sweep this under the carpet, and I think I have started alluding to it earlier, that we have to be contributors. And I will borrow some words from one of my brothers on Facebook, Babangida Umar. I think when I posted something about this talk that we would have, he said something really profound, and that was that youth have to have a new mindset. They have to think of themselves not as leaders of tomorrow, but as builders of tomorrow. This is it is a key. It is, it is very important and very critical for youth to understand that they are not just supposed to be leaders of tomorrow, but builders of tomorrow. And if you have that kind of mindset of being a builder of tomorrow, then you will be much, ready to participate actively and not only be a supporter or someone who would propagate the messages of other politicians, but also someone who has their own ideas and they are willing to, propagate it and make it become alive.
So that's a very good way to look at things. So let me go to you, Vengida, and in this sense is, let's say we are the builders of tomorrow, and somehow we are not taking on that responsibility. Just hypothetically speaking, how do we promote, I guess, motivate the rest of the youths, all of us, to say, okay, look, we have a stake in this and we don't have a way out. If we need to build this, we need to do it together, right? I know we've talked about other means of maybe mentorship, kind of other ways of youths can actively, self-motivate. That's kind of, I think, the word I'm looking for. How do we encourage the rest of us? Because I was once, I guess, that person whereby I don't really care about what happened in the political atmosphere. I'm not a politician. When the time is for you to vote, you go and vote and you move on. But how do we ginger everybody to do more than just going to vote and looking the other way?
No, actually, it happens to be like I work as a community organizer for more than 6 years. So if we talk about the community, I know how our community is going. So considering that, even me, I don't have interest in politics, because I think politics is only for politicians. But as a matter of fact, I come to realize that we just, everybody is politician, because we need to make a positive changes. To me, politics is about making a positive change, not being into political office, because some people, if you look at our society or community, some people only engage into politics because of the privileges the office has. So this is the reason why a lot of people have interest to go into politics. But the civil society organizations or NGO have a vital role to play in this particular thing, because those are the people who engage with the community. Those are the people who engage with the community at the local level, and they need to create a massive awareness about how the politics is going, because you need to tell somebody that this is something that all of us need to do, because we are all politicians in one way or the other. But if you really want to make a positive change in the community, you just need to be in politics, because with the power of politics, that is the only way you can make changes. And with the power of social media, this technology stuff we are seeing, actually, I recently launched my book, Technology, a Tool for Youth Empowerment, which I mean that with the power of social media, we can create a lot of awareness that we want, because most of people, most likely everybody is now online. So power of social media can help a lot in creating a massive awareness about the politics, and by showing the young people that this is the only way to go. Because as I said earlier on, that we let those people be in politics for a really long time, and we have seen what they have done, and perhaps we appreciate it. We are not complaining, so we appreciate what they have done. But it's time for young people to take the power, to take that particular position, to see what young people can do. But we cannot achieve that without a massive awareness, which is all our responsibility to tell the people that this is the only way to go out, and it's our own responsibility to show them a way to success. That is a way to join politics.
That's actually a brilliant and very detailed answer. And again, by the way, congratulations on your book. I saw you have what, more than 10 million downloads?
Exactly. Thank you.
A few days. So I think everybody should get it out there. I have the link on my note here, but I have not posted any of my notes for this. I will later on. I'll definitely share the link, and I think it's interesting, most especially for the technocrats like me. So,
Thank you.
so you mentioned something here, which I'll try to. Uh, I don't know. I would really like to elaborate this in Hausa at some point. That zamanin da, when we were younger, we see all of the leaders, the current president, his other buddies and colleagues that have led in the past have done great things for the nation, right? Shows, and now we are even talking about just getting involved. These are guys that did amazing, great things for Nigeria many years ago, and now 40, 50, 60 years, we are back at it again. They are still leading. And we are talking about how do we get involved, right? It seems like there's a big gap there. How do we kind of bridge this and say, look, we have more resources now with the technology and access to information and access to what they have done in the past, learn from their mistakes to even make the future better. But yet, we are having this conversation. But let's get back to Salisu from Casina. Salisu, can you answer that for me, or maybe just let me know what you think about that? Why are we so behind? I think the network is pretty poor back there. So let me go ahead. Yeah. Dr. Mako, do you want to chip in?
So yes, so as you were mentioning, it is very sad that at this point in time, we are even talking about whether, I mean, we're even suggesting that youth should participate in politics. I think by now, I think the youth should have been the ones taking charge and at least being really involved at high level. But it is sad that we are in this situation where we're talking about youth getting involved. But that said, I think part of the problem is starting right from the grassroots and also having an idea. It is not only enough for you to say, okay, I want to get involved in politics, and your only strength is the fact that you are youth. It's not a strength. The the important thing is, what ideas do you have? What are you bringing on the table? What kind of things and changes are you aspiring to effect? I think if you have this kind of things in your mind and also written out as well as tabled out, it is much more useful than just coming out and saying, I want to participate in politics, I want to vie for this position, but ask what things do you want to really achieve, you don't know, you have no idea. So that's what is happening today. So if that is the situation, I think the solution is anyone wanting to participate in politics should have a basic objective and a goal that they have set out to achieve, and maybe well written out and mapped out on how they would achieve those goals and how they will, you know, get to those objectives and long-term goals. So I think if we have those kinds of things in our mind, we will be much more capable of participating. Because most of the time, if you don't have that long-term goal, you don't have something that you are looking forward to, it is very difficult for one to be much more interested in what they are doing.
So we need a solid foundation, I must say then.
Yes.
Babangida, can you chip in? What is your stake? Why do you think we are so behind after all these years? But I mean, it's just crazy that, you know, the current president was the chief of, was in charge before I was even given birth to, and yet now after 34 years, he's still the president again. What's wrong with the picture, though? I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but why are we not there? The youth, why are we not seeing faces that look like mine and yours and new visionaries, people that have dedicated their entire life doing amazing things to be part of moving Nigeria to the next level?
Last week I had an interview, something like with the same particular topic, youth and politics. And when they asked me the similar question you asked me, the truth is Nigerian politics is one of the most expensive politics in the world. We all know that to be a politician in Nigeria, you need to have money. This is something that has been going on for a very long time, for a decade, for a very long time. But the thing is, how do we overcome that, or how do we make a change in that particular problem? So the thing is, the young people need to realize that nobody will create opportunity for you. You need to create your own. You need to create opportunity for yourself. And at any time, anytime I criticize the government on my Facebook page, somebody is sending me a message. He said, please, why don't you participate in politics so that you can take a seat and then you can do something? Because I've seen maybe you have a lot of ideas that they don't have.
Right.
Something like that. But the truth is, the Nigerian politics is very expensive, which is the reason why some of our young people don't engage into politics. Because as a civil servant, as I said last week, I'm still repeating it now, that your salary is only, I think, range from 100,000 and below. Just tell me, at this economic time, or at this the world moving today, 100,000 is not enough for you to take care of yourself, not even your family, not even to have a chance to engage in politics. Because we even know that the process of being into politics, it has a lot of process. One, you need to go you need to even have a party. But to get a membership into that top political parties is another problem. And even if you get to that, which is you are lucky, and to contest under the platform is still another problem, because you need to go for a primary election before going to the secondary election. And that is where a lot of people chip in their money and they will never get their own money back. So most likely, the people that we have in power now, they already have a money, or if they want to sponsor a candidate, they can sponsor him and later they can get their money back. But as a young person who his salary is no more than 100,000, they don't even thinking of going into politics. But the solution is that we need to understand and realize the power of unity, the power of young people. Young people have a power, which they have a unique power, but only few of them realize the power, which is when they united themselves in one place. Trust me, whatever they want to do, they will do it. So one most important thing to do is to understand what is politics first, and then we unite ourselves, and we just have to make a sacrifice for a particular candidate or a single candidate. But the truth is, sometimes this is one of the mentality of Africans. You and I know this already, that everybody wants to be on top. I want to be the CEO, I want to be the chairman, so that when I was walking around within the community, everybody is respecting me. Last week, I read something on Facebook about LAPA stuff on my Facebook, so it had get a lot of traffic, which particularly is one of our major problem in Africa. Everybody want to be in power. That is the reason why we are having a lot of issues. But if we ever talk about the national development, then we need to make a sacrifice. Making sacrifice doesn't necessarily for you to be the leader. Some of your friends or somebody who don't even know can be a leader, and then maybe you have a footprint or you have some document that you can support him to make a positive impact. If we can do that, trust me, we can make a progress within the society.
Well, I think you said it all really. So the expensive part of our governance, and I think that's what created the first problem that you mentioned, right? The attractiveness. If we can make political office or public offices less attractive to people, then it will be a bit more less expensive for other people to run. But the only way, as you said, I think, is unity, right? But it's amazing whereby we are still the majority. If simply the youth, just the youth, can unite themselves, then we have a majority, and that's all it takes in politics, right? And yet we just cannot get through to past those other obstacles of how do we come together and think of a community development, social development, and those other things without because those doesn't require a lot of financial support to do, like community development, community engagement, and motivating each other doesn't really cost a lot to do. It's more of a mindset. But why are we still stuck? And for instance, let's say this will be a really good question for Dr. Bako. For some of us that are not residing in Nigeria now, right, that might have some opportunity or some ways to contribute or wants to be part of the social development or the political atmosphere in Nigeria, how do we chip in? Of course, using technology and all the available resources we have now.
So I'm sorry.
Dr. Bako, I think your camera just flipped. I think we must have lost Dr. Bako.
I think maybe I can answer this question for him.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When at any time you see an opportunity, I was always telling people that just utilize that opportunity, because you can, if you see that opportunity, you live in some other country, and it's a privilege, because a lot of people are looking for that particular privilege to be in that country, but they couldn't have it. So you have it, I think you need to create something that give back to the community. Because if you look at it, some of you that you are in US now, if you look at the young people in the US, they believe in community engagement. They believe that government cannot solve all their problems. So what should they do? Is to create a social change, a social movement that can give an impact back to the community. And one of the most important thing is that you just have to look at the community. What do they really need? And making change. If you change a one person life, it's the same as you change the community, because you don't even know the influence that particular person has and how he can help people to make a positive change. Like now, I have a vision to transform 1 billion lives. So whenever I say this to people, somebody will be like, wow, this is the higher number. How do you intend to do that? But with the power of technology, we can make a lot of things. Last time you talked about mentorship, exactly. It doesn't require a lot of financial issue, because mentorship is about skills development. And if you have it is already in your brain, that is in all common sense. It doesn't require money. So what I do is that I create a different platform that I engage young people, because somebody may be interested into entrepreneurship but don't have interested in politics. Somebody may be into politics, so stuff like that. So we create a different platform, giving that particular young people opportunity to engage so that they can learn what they want. Because mentorship, training on entrepreneurship and capacity development, as well as technology, leadership, is something that all our people need. If you look at it, because you can never be into politics, a position of power, without leadership skills. And even if you have it, let me say, to have a capital knowledge on entrepreneurship is one of the essential that everybody need at this economic time in the world is moving. So some of us, people who are not even living in Nigeria, I think this is the right time for them to invest into their own people, because no matter what, they will come back to the country. I've been there for a really long time, and now I'm back, and I think it's high time for me to give people what I have, what I learned for me traveling around the world. I think I learned a lot of things, and then now it's time to give back to community. And I'm calling for anybody who is watching us, particularly who are not in Nigeria, to create something. Maybe a foundation, maybe an initiative that they keep giving back to the community, to the society, maybe to change the lives of maybe even 1 or 2 people. That is also awesome, because that is what encourages people to do more. That is what encourages people to understand that we really need to do something within the society, and maybe by engaging into politics, motivations, passive awareness is the key to move forward in that aspect.
Well, that is very detailed, and we really do appreciate that, Wangida. I think you nail it right where it needs to be. And for some of us that are abroad, we have to create something, some kind of media that we can give back to our community. But while we have Muhammad Abbas, I would like to ask him something, because he's part of a program that was started, I believe, in Casino right now, is Youth Arise for Credible Candidate, and this part of the reason why I invited here to speak today. And this, I believe, is part of the tools that we need to get to where we need to be. Right? We just cannot wake up tomorrow and say, okay, well, we have the wheels now, let's go. Right? There has to be some kind of those mentorship program and skills that we require to get there. But as part of this program, Muhammad, that you started, can you talk to us a bit about it? Why did you start Youth Arise for Credible Candidate? And how is it going? Are you facing any challenges? Is there any way that people can support or be part of what you have going on?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Well,
Members of the panel, I would like to greet you and also apologize for being absent for some time. This is as a result of technological problem or network problem we are facing here in Nigeria, which is very common. I'm sorry for that, and I'm back again. For your question, Ms. Chairman of the panel, the reason why we started Youth Arise for Credible Leadership in Nigeria, in Katsina here in Nigeria, is that we want to create awareness to our people, more especially youth and women in Nigeria, to know the importance or the impact of voting candidate without looking at a particular party where that candidate comes or where that candidate is looking for a particular position. Because we notice that usually our people here, when we talk about politics, they only concentrate on a particular party. Let's take, for example, the leading party or the ruling party and either the majority opposition party in the country. Like when you give example, when you take Nigeria as a case study, the ruling party, which is the APC, and the greater opposition party, which is the PDP. So any candidate that do not comes out of these two parties, usually people see him as if he's just out to make money or to make name, right? No, rather not to make it. So that is notice that is really a big problem. We have to create awareness to our people to know that it is not only people that are in this party that can make it. There are other people from different political parties across the country that are also credible, and they will also deliver even more better than those that are in the major parties in the country. And I started this from my polling units, and I showed them that it works. In 2019 election, when it comes to the issue of when it comes to the issue of election, the second election, I think, not the general election, the second election, we have about how many people? We have about four candidates that are seeking for one political party. Some are seeking for some are from PDP, one is from APC, one is from PDP, and one is from ANRP, and another one is from Accord Party. We said this is the right time for people to, first of all, sit down and look at these people critically from where they are, what are their contributions. And what we find out is that majority of our people usually, what is taking their mind away from going for credible candidate is the little token that these candidates are sharing. So we created awareness from there, and alhamdulillah, it works. So I now see a reason that if every polling units across the state is going to apply our own method, our own tactics, definitely it is going to work. So people from other parts of the state, from other part of the town, that is personal, started consulting me that why can't I create this initiative to make it a general, like to make it a general movement that is going to create awareness to people to know the importance of voting people that are credible, not only voting for people that comes from either the major party or from the opposition party. And
so
we started, and it also works.
how did you guys connect to the people? I mean, because I think this will be one of the solutions to the problem of expensive governance and creating more rooms for credible leaders to be part of our political system. But how do you connect to, just a quick question, how do you connect to these guys? Do you guys have maybe a community program, something online? How do you get your information across to the voters?
First of all, we started contact.
I think here goes the network is off again. So let me get back to you, Dr. Bako. I think we have some bit of a glitch there. So what we were discussing is how does people like me and you that live abroad, right, in diaspora, support or help to make the political system more efficient, getting more credible candidate and skills candidate into the public offices. So do you have any ideas on more especially utilizing technology? I think will be one of them, but do you have any input there?
Yes, one of the
I'm
important
sorry,
things that one of the important things that I wanted to mention, that I wanted to share, was the fact that youth need to give or set out good examples. There have been people that have been involved in politics and they have attained a really high position in government, and they are youth and they have not set good examples, and that would, take people away, or make people think that even if we elect youth, the things will not change. It will be all of the, more of the same outcome. So I think it is really important that you give a really good example. Um, and on the part of the people living abroad, and not only people that are out of the country, but also people within the country, as youth, I think we need to start, as Babangida Ruma just mentioned, uniting ourselves and thinking of ourselves as one people and with shared interest. And that should help us, to start building things um, like political movements, not only political movements, but also, some kind of platforms where we understand what is going on in politics, grading politicians by their by their activities, by the things that they are bringing forth to the community. Those are the things that we should do, and that would help youth, understand what is their rights, what are their rights, and what they need to work on to make sure that they get back from the leaders that they elect. So it's not only the role of the people or people in diaspora or Nigerians in diaspora, but also Nigerians within Nigeria need to start thinking about ways in which we can evaluate the performance of our elected officials, and also uh, having some kind of very much local. And by local, I mean at not even at word level, but at sub word level. If you have at polling unit level or even much lower scale, what does our community want? What do we need? What do we want to see from politicians? What are the important things that we expect politicians to deliver for us? And if we have these kinds of things written down, we can table these things out and, you know, see that only politicians that are able to achieve these kinds of things for us, uh, those are the only politicians that we can be able to work together with. And not only that, as youth, we should start, demanding that certain positions that are within the political cycle are exclusively left for us. And when we go there, as much as possible, we should set good examples. That's the most important thing. That would motivate a lot of people to support us, and to support the young people. So that's my take on this.
Well, thank you for that answer. I really wanted to ask something here because you talked about political accountability, right? And that's something to me personally, I just do not understand. Maybe it's because of we have a bit of a experience of both sides of political system here in the U.S. and Nigeria, and I'm sure Babangida will speak very well to this, being around around the world and experiencing many things. So why is it just basically, I don't know if there's some kind of accountability, but it seems there's none in Nigeria. Politicians can just do whatever they want in some cases, right? And nobody will hold them accountable. And in most cases, you see them going right back to their office, even though the first promises that were made have not even been looked at. There's no initiative at some point, even no effort at all, no, and no explanation. Just like it doesn't even matter what I said. I just said what needs to be said at that time for you to vote me into office, and the time is done. Now I'm back with new set of promises or new set of words to say, and yet still that person still go back. But what do you think is the problem? Why can't our politicians be held accountable for the words and the promises they made?
You know, that thing is like a tradition to all Nigerians because it has been going around for a very long time, for a really long time, you know. And major problem is that last time I posted something on Facebook that Nigerian leaders are very lucky to have Nigerians as the followers, you know, because we don't hold them accountability. And one of the things is poverty. Poverty is one of the major problems because those politicians, they know that whatever they do, when they come back in the polling unit, as long as they give money, people will vote them. And this is why the massive awareness will come from. Because a lot of people don't even know what the importance of their voters card. They don't even know what this voters card can do for me. They don't even know the power of that voters card. You know, that is a problem. Because whatever they do, that particular people will just come back to them, give them money, and then they will still go back to office. And we don't even know our rights. You know, last time I said we don't even know our right, of course, because sometimes you are on the right direction, but somebody can harass you and say you are not in the right direction. Then you get confused because you don't even know what you are doing. That is a problem. But look at the US politics is one of the politics I like the most in the world, you know, because everybody knows his right. You know, that is the kind of problems we are experiencing in Nigeria because we don't even know our rights. But you know,
a common sense, Babangida, right? It's almost a common sense to say when you come and say, "I promise you, you know, ABC," and then you came back with zero return, like not even A or B was completed, and say, "Okay, vote for me again. I give you ABC." You know, so but a rational human, or maybe so, you almost think is a common sense to say, if you couldn't make it this time, forget about it. I'm not giving you, or I'll give you another chance, right? Everybody needs a second chance. But then no, you see the same person going to Abuja, if he's a representative at a certain a location for a number of years without nothing to show, and yet some don't even live in the constituency where they govern.
That's why I said we don't even know our rights. Because some of the political promises that we have been hearing for a long time, they will be like, and you know that it can never happen. And people still vote for them with that particular promise. It's just recently that with the power of social media and with the power of, you know, civilizations coming into that, we understand that that can never be possible. And that's why I said, if you consider like looking at the US politics, most of the people know their rights. Sometimes they go, I write a open letter, then go to the president. I'm calling for him for a, you know, for early childhood education, because I'm an education activist and I see what education do to people, because lack of education, you know, is what bring all this. Because somebody said, I'll promise you pump on pride and then you still believe him, you know. Something is not there. Exactly, your common sense is somehow. So the bottom line is that, you know, when you look at everywhere in the world has a problem. And if we keep discussing about the problem here, it will take us a really long time before we even stop thinking about the problems. You know, we just have to look forward on how we can change that tradition. We know, you know, as I said, those people have money, they are already in politics, they already having power, they have money for a really long time, and that is what is voting them to go back in that particular office, not by people wish. Because if you look at it, somebody can be in office for a really long time, but when you ask the people that he's representing, they will tell you that we are not happy with him, but we don't have a choice. You know, poverty, and we don't even know our right, that is a major problem. So I'm saying this to anyone who is watching us, that we need to create a massive awareness. You know, we just have to know our right first, and then create a massive awareness about, you know, there's campaign promises that can never be achieved within 2 years or 4 years or even 8 years. When somebody make a campaign promises, you know, we need to call his attention that no, so this is not what we want from you. We want this and that from you, because that is our major problems. You know, there's a really long-term plans or project, and there's a very short-term plans and project. So we need to call the attention of everybody who is contesting into politics or going to any office that, no, sir, we don't need that. This is what we need you to do for us when you get in politics, or when you get the power, when you get in office. This is what we want. But, you know, we can do that without an awareness, because some of us don't even know how to talk to those politicians, you know. If you look at this, what is going around on the social media, we buy data, we go online, we start insulting them, that is no way out. Somebody like me, when I see the problem, I write an open letter to the president because I know that I can't get access to him, So I write an open letter with the hoping that he will see, and I
I think we have a small network
I
problem.
received a call from the office of the AC to the president of youth and student. Now you back online, which happened to be a friend of mine. That there's three things I write to the letter. Like I'm calling for the president to create a presidential youth council, because when I was in Malaysia some time ago, I've seen that what presidential youth council did for the young people in the country. I was invited to see their prime minister, and we did a lot of things together. And I call on him to create a early childhood education, which is basically to make it a necessary, like they do in China. Primary and secondary education is necessary for anyone, whether you like it or not. Even if you want to go into entrepreneurship, but you need at least to have a primary and secondary education, which is within that short period of time. That is when somebody can get common sense, So
Right.
to make that possible, and then actually I forget the third one, but just the major two I call on him actually is about the climate change. I was in World Youth Foundation headquarters for a climate change program at that time, which I believe is something that bothering our community. So that is why I write that open letter. So I'm calling for anyone, if you have any problem or you wanted to call attention of your politician or your leader, you don't have to insult them. The most important thing to do is just find a way, a communication channel that you can channel your own problem to him, and I believe, trust me, he will listen to you. They are all aware, they are all online on social media, and then they read newspapers. You can communicate to them through that. You don't need to insult your leader, because that is not the way out. If you insult him, he won't even listen to you. And then one more thing, I want to chip one more thing. If you are with any politician or any leader, you insult people for him, trust me, when he get the power, he will never appoint you in any position. Why? Is because he will think you will do the same to him. So at least you just need to have a common sense before you do whatever you do online, because people are watching you. So that is it.
That's true. Well, thank you, and I think that's right to mention, and I appreciate the emphasis. Insulting our leaders is just not. It's just not it. It's not a common sense. It's just wrong at all levels. Any way you look at it, I think it's just not right. And it seems like we have Keisha back, so I have a really a question here for her, because it's one of our main questions in this program is women participation in politics, right? And you can see just right from our panel, I'm not trying to say we have to equalize everything, but I'm just asking, Kisu, what is the problem with women participation in politics? What are challenges, and what can you say to motivate other women to get involved? Because I believe women know the issues that bother women the most, and it just makes a common sense for women to participate and help bridge the gap and provide solutions to this problem, instead of men making policies or working towards resolution of women problems. Go ahead.
Well, if you look at how the society is set, and look at how culture and religion takes over our lives, women don't usually involve themselves in such activities in our society because of how they were judged, how they were being looked at, how the things that come behind it is somehow not every woman can go through that. If you look at some of the women who already made it in politics, where they were judged by their men counterpart, even if you look at our Senate, if you look at how the National Assembly treated women, some of the men, whenever something there is not between a man and a woman, look at the way the verbal abuses and all. So, and also, if you our culture don't allow our women to be very vocal, to go out and be themselves and to represent. It's not that simple. So women usually engage in politics because of the way politics itself is being judged in our society. We are gradually accepting, like letting our people to engage in politics. That's what brought the problem in the first place. The way people look at politics itself. Back then, a lot of parents would not allow their children to be um, dealing with politicians because of our politicians like make them like the attack dogs and all. So it's not something that women want to get involved in. And also, if you look at you can't go into politics without money. And the culture of poverty is also one of the issues that is preventing women to engage in politics. You have to have money. You have to buy political parties to even have for primary election. You have to buy you have to pay for campaigns. You have to buy gifts to people to vote for you. And women don't have that kind of money.
So, because let
So
me
it's like challenge.
let me chip in here. I think the network is a bit poor, but if you can hear me, wouldn't, from my thinking, the solution to this problem obviously is participation, more participation, because I don't believe you guys can change this from outside, right? I don't know if Dr. Baku, you can chip in here. The, based on what Chief said of, the financial aspect, the traditional religion, and the kind of gender, or how they're being treated, even in the public office. Wouldn't you think this a solution to this problem has to come from inside, or is there any way possible that we see women really jumping in, making a big impact to overcome some of these challenges from outside?
I think that the answer lies within us. We have the answer within us. The solution is with us. If you look at how politics is being done in other parts of the world, you come out and get to participate in politics. Money is not a big deal because there would be some form of crowdfunding, and I think this is why I always get back to that impactful suggestion made by Babangida Ruma, which is that youth have to unite. With unity, we could be able to to support ourselves, to gather whatever amount of money is possible that would be used to sponsor and support people from within us to participate in the politics. So I think unity is the key, and also having some form of strong leadership commitment amongst us and understanding the ones amongst us that have the capability of delivering whatever it is. Just as Babangida Ruma mentioned, that we need to have that capacity. Those kinds of things are really vital. If we understand that and we can be able to sponsor someone whom we believe is capable of delivering, and we can sponsor that person, we can, crowd fund, we will chip in a small amount of money, but with our large size, we're gonna, table out a huge sum of money that even the politicians cannot be able to match. So I think the most important thing is unity, and also thinking of ourselves as sponsors of the politicians, not supporters or people needing something from the politicians. Even with the little amount of money that we have, if we
Yes.
understand the power and impact of uh, leadership on us, it is worth spending the money. We should think about that as something that would save our future much more than the little amount of money that we would lose in sponsoring some people.
So you made some good points here, and I think I'm going to ask Muhammad Sadi Suhair a question because he contested in the last 2019 election, so he's obviously a politician and a businessman. The question is something I do know happened here in the U.S. right now. I'm not trying to compare the politics in U.S. and Nigeria, but just kind of an example with the unity aspect. If we can unite, let's say as a group of individuals, either youths or women, to say we want to sponsor our candidate, and this is what we want the candidate to achieve, and office. Is it something that's currently being happening right now in Nigeria in the previous 2019 election, or is there something that we need to really emphasize, even for us that are in the diaspora, to say, okay, we can support somebody, we can put someone in there that will protect our interest, and we can guide if it's financial aspect, give the finances, or whatever is the if it's the mentorship, as Babazira has mentioned, provide a very strong skill mentorship program that those individuals have to follow. But this is a question for you, Salisu. If that's happening, did you experience any kind of request from your constituency when you were running for office in 2019? Did anyone reach out to you, tell you this is what we want, and did it counter with kind of the things that you were hoping to do for the people at the way you were elected in office?
Well, I'm not getting you clearly, but if I'm not mistaken, you are talking about unity and money politics in Nigeria, isn't it? So actually, as my colleague says earlier, money plays Nigerian politics. But if we look very carefully, as Mamadi Roma has said, we are in as long as we have little resources for our logistics, definitely those can win the elections. Let's look at what had happened in 2015 when PDP was in power in this country. At that time, the opposition party that was APC had no money. Right? Because of the unity, they defeated ruling party, PDP. So we are not looking for money, but we are looking for literacy, for logistical. That money for voters. In as long as we are united and we are seriously in need to get this power from these old people, definitely will make it. In as long as we unite ourselves. I have experience in 2019. I was a black bearer of Accord Party in a central federal constituency in Kasana. We had no resources. We had very little resources.
I think we have an echo in I think we have an echo on this microphone. Or maybe it's on all of us.
I don't know.
I think it's on all of us.
So we had resources. Out of political parties, we became taught. So as long as we are to reform from its negativity to positivity, definitely we can change it. This is just about our and as well.
I think we have a little echo there, but it might be coming from my end. So I'm working there to resolve that. But let me throw this on Muhammad. Do you have any input there on kind of, because I think you that have a separate entity or maybe some kind of organization that could facilitate get credible leaders into office, do you have any kind of what will I say, the enlightenment awareness program for the voters themselves to say this is, you can go above and beyond, not just voting for someone, but putting together to say as a community, this is what we want. This is the project we want you to carry on, other than allowing the candidate side of things, right? The candidate just showed up and said, I will do this and that and that and that for you. Can we counter all of that to say, now there is a kind of program that enlighten people to have and decide on their own as a community or a state to say, this is what is important to us. Yes, we get the ideas that you bring to us, can you compromise? But basically, not just taking what a politician is promising to give you, but rather demanding this. This is the kind of change we want. If it's education, social infrastructure, if it's health, do you guys have kind of anything towards that nature with the programs you have going on with Rise for Credible Leadership?
Yeah, we have absolutely. When we started Youth Arise for Credible Leadership, we tried to introduce. We tried to bring our programs into different segments. The first segment, that is the idea generation stage, where we started collecting facts from different group of individuals, from different civic society organizations, that this is what we have. We want to form a movement named Youth Arise for Credible Leadership. What do you think we should include in this movement as part of our objectives so that we can achieve what we want? The second stage, that is the social media campaign, which we flag up, I think, about a month after the introduction of the movement. We have already passed that stage, which we are still on it, because there is no way you can say you are through with adverts. We continue with the enlightenment and social media campaign from time to time. We are already on it. Then the second stage, that is consultations between the Youth Arise and Credible Leadership and various civic society organizations, in order to create something like a forum on how can we unite ourselves in order to achieve what we are trying to achieve. Because majority of politicians and individuals, what we are always complaining is that we youth are not united. So how can we unite ourselves? And we are people from different backgrounds, people with different needs and wants. Therefore, for us to unite, we have to come together. We have to consult each other. What do you have on ground? What do you want to achieve? What are the problems of your community? What are the problems of your society? You bring them forward. How can we assist each other? So we started consulting these associations, and we are already on it. Inshallah, we'll also continue with it. Then there are also minor parties minor parties that are existing here in Katsina and also Katsina State at large, and some other parts of the country. We are also consulting them to see how can those minor parties merge with others in order to come up with something bigger. In fact, which I'm very sure that inshallah, after all those consultations, we are going to create a larger group. And even from the media, for the social media campaign, when we flag it up, I think within a week, our first Instagram or our first WhatsApp account become full. We have to create, what do you call it, a kind of another group. Before later on, we created a Telegram account which will accommodate many people. So the stage we are in now is consultations with other civic society organizations and other individuals and groups, and also politicians who contested in different parties, to come together to unite themselves, forget about all other personal difference, individual differences, and come together so that we can achieve um, uh, a better mission. So, Mr. Chairman, this is what we are in now, and inshallah, we'll also continue. I would like people like Babangida Ruma, Dr. Abdulaziz T. Bako, Salis Muhammad, and also you to please come up and actively participate in this campaign of Youth Arise for Credible Leadership, because I'm very sure you are going to play a better role. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your contribution, and I think we can all we can play a role in all of this, and we'll do the best we can. I think what you are doing is really brave. I know it's not easy, and you don't do things because they're easy. Moreover, all of these are difficult topics to discuss. But when you get a rumor, so let's talk about this. It seems like all of what we've summarized here today is more of awareness and funding. If we can create an atmosphere where credible leaders, right, people that have the knowledge and know-how and the vision, take us to where we need to go, now have the resource to do that. How can we march those two together, put in a massive network of awareness that goes all across the nation, from the elite all the way down to the rest of the individuals? And how do we make it simpler for people to get, which I believe uh, there are many other reasons that many Nigerians don't get really involved with politics when it comes to the money aspect of it, the travels, the time, and what do you have to offer. But can we create a program that comes to people in some kind of way to their local environments or local communities?
Sorry.
I think we still have that echo. What I was asking is, do you have any idea that how we can create a massive awareness program that also self-fund itself along the way?
Creating an awareness is very easy things. Which everybody individually we can do it, collectively, individually, and then we can do it. Because you see, as I said, with the power of social media, we can do a lot of things. We can achieve a lot of things. What I'm saying clearly is that we all have a role to play. Our social media accounts can do that awareness. At any morning or any time you log into social media, just write a good content, just an awareness content about something. There's a lot of people who are on social media who they don't even post, they don't even share anything, but they are always, they are the kind of people that grab ideas from what you write on social media. And then community outreach, as Mohammed, they are doing in their own organization, is very good things which I'm impressed. And personally, I'll come to you on how we can partnership and collaborate for that, actually. Okay? So, what I'm saying here is that creating awareness is very easy. So, the power of social media, we can do it. And then we can do it collectively through non-governmental organizations we have. And then individually, we can even do that through our social media platform. So creating an awareness is easy. All you need to do is to have a passion for it. Whatever you have a passion for it, it becomes so easy for you. So we just need to realize and then understand the power of the awareness, or the power of what the assignment we are trying to do. Because this commitment is not only our own commitment. This commitment is not only between me and Mohammed, Salisu, Oliver, and Dr. This is not our commitment. This is a commitment for everybody who wants to see Nigeria forward. And we just have to think positively and how we can move our own society forward without negative thinking, actually. Because as I said earlier on, there's a lot of problems, but we are the problem solvers. And then we just have to solve it. We don't have to wait. The fact is, nobody will solve it for us. That is the problem. If you can't solve it for yourself, then the problem is going to be there for a really long time, because our children, our upcoming children, and our grandchildren will come to inherit our problems, the problem that we left behind, the problem we left to forget to solve. A lot of people are complaining that our leaders who are in power now, they are the people who actually did the wrong thing, or they were running the country in the wrong direction. Yes, I can believe that, but we all have a role to play. Earlier on, 2015, when President Buhari was elected as the president, I had an interview with Channel TV, which I said, now that our wishes, that our hope is President Buhari to be in power. Now he's in power. Then now is our time to play our role to make Buhari to succeed. And I'm saying this for any leader, not only Buhari or PDP or APC. It's time for Nigerians to make Nigeria move forward. If you look at the example, we all have this in our own mind. If you go to ATM, you meet a lot of people following you. You come, you just want to serve yourself and go. You don't even care about the problem. That is why the problem started. At any time you wish or you take yourself as you are the only person that need to solve your problem urgently or to satisfy yourself. That is the problem. That kind of mindset, we need to change it. And if we want to change that, then we need to make an awareness for people to change. We are all role models in our community, because there is a lot of people who always want to be like us. There's a lot of people who always look after us. There's a lot of people who always look forward for us to say something and they copy it. Then always say positive things, because we don't even know what that your word can say can change. If you change one person, trust me, he would change a lot of people. So making impact or changing community or making an awareness is a collective responsibility. Is not our own responsibility alone. This is something that all of us should do. We that we are in this conversation and the people, millions of people watching us, this is a collective responsibility. And I want you to know this. Just put this in your mind that as from today, I am ready to make a common sense change in the society. And if you have that kind of things, trust me, you will make a lot of impact. And I'm looking forward to create a forum or a platform that we can make awareness with the title "A Common Sense Awareness" or "A Common Sense Revolution." So that we can be tracking the achievements of people or what they are doing in their own community. What have you done today? And then we can track that. I have done this and I done that in the community. Well done. Sometimes if you're doing a good thing, you deserve some appreciation. So we can create that platform and give people, everybody, an opportunity to engage into that platform. Making an awareness doesn't require money, because if you and I can communicate, the whole issue is unity. If we unite ourselves, we can achieve a lot of things. Trust me. Things change and we need to change with them.
I think that's a really brilliant idea, because it will counter what we're looking at right now. Is more of there's no pat in the bag for doing the right thing. It's a lot of negativity, just even for someone to do the right thing, and yet the ones that promise to do something and still refuse to do it get no query in the same sense. So having some kind of platform that recognize individual at a local level within their society will be really good to have a mentorship kind of program right there. I want to do what this person is doing, and then now doing community development, doing the right to become something that everybody look up to or grow up to see. Hey, this guy is doing this. I want to do that, and it might help develop the younger ones, or maybe even ourselves. So I do have a question for you, Salisu, and this is more of uh, the part of the negativity of even discussing politics, where people just see politicians as bad guys or somebody in a dirty business. What do you have to say to individuals that just tell you don't go into politics? Politics are bad, and yet depend on those same politicians to make policies that affect their life in education, pay the doctors, the nurses, pay the securities that actually protect us all. What do you say to counter the mind of those, or to change the mind of somebody that thinks just don't go into politics? Politics is bad, or bad enough to go into.
Yes, honestly speaking, if you go away from politics because of negative things that are happening in it, you will be governed by. So this is high time for the current and honest youth to come up with create stagnation mobilization on this issue, because these old men are technically defeating young men. They say, "Young man, don't ever go to politics because it's a bad thing." So you will be technically defeated by. So we have to come up with an idea of countering this by hello by centralization mobilization.
There's a lot of echo. I can barely hear him. Can you guys hear at all? I think there's a lot of echo.
We can hear him actually. He's a bit.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah,
Alice, we cannot hear you. I think there's something off with your microphone, and we kind of right about random up. So maybe I would just like to do a quick round table for all of you guys that are on to just give last few words. I think maybe hopefully something to encourage other young people like us to, do whatever it takes. I think there's many ways we can all contribute, and I just think we have no option at this point. We have to do something. It's obvious, as you mentioned, but again, that's what we see here. It's not the government that does all things for you. Some things we have to do for ourselves, and we have to figure out how to contribute. If we want a good road, how do we get it? How do we make it a high priority for the government? And what can we do to support it and make sure that comes to life? So just my thought. So I don't know if you guys have one last few words, word of advice, something to kind of close out the program with. I know it's kind of getting late there in Nigeria, so let me turn the microphone to Muhammad Abbas and see if you have last few words from your end. Go ahead, Muhammad.
All right. I just have few words to tell my fellow youths, most especially here in Katsina. Say no to vote buying, say no to godfatherism, stay away from one party political style of voting. Remember, the future of our generation lies in the hands of credible leaders. Let's vote credibility. Forget about uh, collecting money and vote for someone. If you collect money and vote for somebody who you know that such person is incredible, such person is incapable of leading you, definitely you are not only putting yourself in danger, rather you are putting the whole generation of your family in danger. Say no to vote buying, say no to godfatherism, vote credibility. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Muhammad. Let's go now to Salisu and see if we have the volume, the audio back up. Salisu, go ahead if you hear me the last time, just last words for our audience, please.
Yes, I do. So I'd like to call the attention of our parents to understand that anybody among them has the capacity, no matter where you find yourself, when you are in the local area, you have a little capacity to sensitize your fellow youth on the danger of money politics. And secondly, if you are trying to unseat government, you must face chief challenges from them. Definitely, they will hire some people, mostly youth, to counter you. So don't ever, in as long as you are trying to bring reforms in politics, this system of government, don't ever be harsh to your fellow youth, because they may not even understand what you are trying to tell them earlier. Try as much as you can to explain yourself to them logically. Don't fight them back if they fight you. Try as much as you can to ensure that they understand your message. Thank you very much.
Okay. So one last question for you here. I know I said that was your last remark. We lost Babangida Ruma. Hopefully we'll give him a few minutes to see if he can reconnect for his last remark. I would like to know, as a young politician yourself, what was your biggest challenge? Do you mind to share that with the our viewers? What was your biggest challenge in 2019, and what do you have to say to a young person, a man or a woman that's is having thought of, what, I don't like what's happening in my society. I want to jump in and see what I can do to help. What do you have to say to that person? Because we would like to know what maybe the challenge is, and then what do you have to look out for?
Problem that I faced that time was time frame, because I was in APC and I left APC in August, exactly August 26th of August 2018. We had about only 6 months from the time we left APC to form a support party, because when we when we left APC in 2018 August, there was nothing like ACOT in Kasina. So we had to campaign massively. We have to mobilize our fellow youth to understand there's something apart from these two political parties, these two dominant political parties that they knew. There are other parties that are existing that will even do better than these parties that they are seeing. So time we seriously affected by time, because we had only 6 months then election took place. And my problem was not money. So I had no money that time. We had very, very little resources, but we breached differences. We did a lot of things which many people did not even expect us to do. We delivered, because we, out of 16 political parties that contested, I became third. So money was not our problem. The problem was time. So I'm telling you, this time around, we have enough time. We are going to prepare more and more to face these two dominant parties that we are having. Even though the people in my state now are becoming more and more familiar with ACOT party now. So believe me, in the 2023 general election, we breached differences and we surprised people outside Kasina. They will understand we have prepared more and more than before. That is it. And I'm telling you, I have to reiterate, money is not our problem. Don't think that you cannot play politics without money. If you have very good, acceptable, honest lieutenants, people that you are sharing the same ideology with them, and as long as you get these people closer to you, definitely you win 40% of your election. Then spend your time to campaign, to mobilize. Even if you are in market, if you are in market, even if wherever you are, just campaign. Tell people right things. Tell people what to do. And don't ever, as I said earlier, don't ever try to fight back in what your fellow youth are doing that are bad. Don't ever fight back. Tell them logically, explain to them logically to understand you. And I'm telling you, by 2023, we have enough time. As I told you, we first the time was very, very short. So now we have very, very enough time to address our previous problem, and inshallah we'll address them squarely.
Well, I think those are very nice words you said. They are very important for our viewers to know as well, because and I think the record you mentioned is incredible for all of what you've done in 6 months. It's amazing to see, and also part of what we have mentioned out here is talking about the resource. It takes a lot of money for people to get in to politics, and yet you are telling us money really wasn't an issue, but moreover time, and I believe that's what some of us, the younger, the younglings, need to really understand. You don't. We like to plan at some level. I would say we wait until the only time you hear about political conversation or kind of a dialogue or panel like this is when it's election time, right? When election is here, we talk about politics, we do everything it takes, and then we let it go. And then nobody talks about anything. There's no plan, and there's no kind of a long time commitment, which from where I stand, that's where I see some flaws. This is my personal opinion that we don't have a longer plan politically in most of the time, in most of the locations in Nigeria, more than just 4 years and 8 years. Everybody come up with a plan of what you can do within 4 years, which half of the time is barely done. And then again, on the other side, people make the mistake of having an 8-year plan, because you are not certain you will be in office for 8 years. So even having an 8 years plan also is wrong, right? But again, those two wrongs are even better than the persons that have no plan. But how can we as a society to say we want our community to be better, or this is a 10-year plan that we have, or 30 years plan, or 20 years plan to get to the next level. So whoever comes, we are pulling this away from the administration, the politician, and also the political party to say we want to do this in 30 years. There's going to be multiple administration, multiple political parties, and multiple politician involved. How do we bridge the gap? I think we have just 1 minute left. Mohammed, let's get you another. I did say you have a last minute, but I want to hear what you have to say about this. How can we, or is it even possible for us to set a 30 years, a 20 years plan beyond our political parties, beyond our political candidates, and so on?
Um, we simple um activity. In fact, the problem we are facing here is that, as you rightly said, that majority of our people will only discuss politics when it is few months or when it is just few days to election, and we'll now start discussing about politics. But politics is not like that. For me, I think it is a day business. In fact, it is something that we need to discuss every day, because it is just like we rightly knows all knows that life is dynamic, things are changing, our needs are changing. So definitely we have to keep on planning according to the needs of our societies. In fact, so if we are doing that, definitely we can have a long term plan, a long run plan, in order to develop our societies. And we also have to do away with the thinking of, or with the mindset of our people, that politics is a business. People believes that politics is like a business, something that you can invest your money and also harvest in the after a period of time. Like what usually happens when it comes to the issue of election, some of these politicians will come up with a certain amount of money, start sharing, start giving people. You understand? Like now, if you go around, you start seeing a lot of community groups, a lot of foundations, and most of these foundations, at the end of the day, or most of these groups, at the end of the day, they will only end up in politics. And once it is done, that is the end of it. And it is only few of them that are doing it at the back of your mind, at the back of their mind, that they want their society to develop, that will continue. So one, we have to do away with the mindset of our people that politics is not a business. When you are into politics, you are there to serve people. It's not something that you should invest your money and earn or maximize profit. Honestly speaking, we have to do away with that thinking, with that mindset of our people. And then two, we have to look around our society and find out what are our problems. Like uh, most especially here in the northern part of Nigeria, we are all aware that we are far left behind when you compare us with our counterpart of the southern part of Nigeria. The first college in the southern part of Nigeria, that is Yabo College of Technology, I think was established in the year 1829. And the first college in the northern part of Nigeria, that is the Katsina College Katsina, now known as the KCK, was established in the year 1929. That is a hundred-year gap. But of now, if we can ask all our politicians, majority of them, they don't they don't even have any plan that what are we doing to develop our education, so that we can build up that gap that is between us and our counterpart from the southern part of Nigeria. Nothing like that. So actually, we need to look at our basic problem, which education is one of them. Business, entrepreneurship, and skills acquisition, they are also part of that. So we need to look at all these problems so that we can see how can we harmonize them and have a longer run plan or a long-term plan that we can develop ourselves. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I think these two issues, if we can address them, that we can have a better plan and also develop our society and communities at large.
Well, I think you brought up some really, really good points here, because part of the common mistakes a lot of people I've seen does is consider politics being a business. You know, is a service to the community, is a service to your nation, and it's actually giving back. You know, being a politician, you shouldn't be expecting to be taken, because That's just how the job is designed. It requires your time, your resource, so many other things that you need to give out, that you need to really give. You are not there to collect, you are there to serve. You are serving within that period of time. But if we can get people to understand this aspect of serving, and you do your part, which I think where the disconnection come from, we are so divided with we're so divided with party and zoning and so other things. It's hard to see where we set a goal, right, for a society that I come in and play my part, you come in and do your part, and the other person come and do their part to make that achievable. There is none of that, and which goes back still to part of the problems we're dealing with. We have to come up with solution within 4 years. So each administration say, I will do this, and now they have to race against time or do whatever is feasible within that short for period, which me and you know, some problems, there's just no way possible for you to resolve them in 4 years or even 8 years or even 10 years. And when we talk about a really a large scale development, whether it's on education where most of our issues are coming through now, you just cannot make a massive impact on education infrastructure just within 4 years. We're not talking about repainting, building. No, those means it's just things, right? But what really value the quality of the education? How do you systematically change it over, let's say, 10-year period, and look at real numbers, right? Factual numbers that it's not just about your administration. So whatever you inherit from another administration, you now see how much did you contribute to it, right? Another administration have a role to play. So now we are kind of connected in some way, have a common goal, even though our party is different, our administration terms are different, and the leaders are different, right? So I think if we could come up with a longer plan, it will buy us a lot of time to solve some of the real issues that we have in our communities, and we'll hopefully get our nation to be better than where we are now. So that being said, I think we should, if we sit here, we can continue to talk about issues and actually coming up with solutions here, not just talking about the issues, but we should call it a day. I know it's past 10 p.m. About 10 p.m. in Nigeria now. So Alice, do you have any last words? If not, we call it a day.
So yes, so I'm appealing to our fellow youth to remain steadfast and exuberant, bring change.
Okay. Well, my last comment here will be, this is the last post somebody just put on here, what about just this very minute, well, about a minute ago. And I want to speak to this because we are discussing youth and politics. So just the fact that you are young, it's not really a qualification to run for office. I'm sure Muhammad will understand because it's what you guys are doing every day. Just there are other things that much more important things, right? The vision, the patriotism of that individual, the knowledge of leadership in the first place, because you can be young and have no leadership experience. So that has nothing to do with running office. But I do think even if we begin to have young people talk about this, get involved in this at some point, we will gather the experience, the knowledge, and the know-how to be in the driver's seat, and we'll do something great. For the meantime, inshallah, thank you so much for coming here, for taking your time. We went through a massive network problem here today, but thanks for everybody that was able to connect and listen to us. And we don't have much time to go over the comment. There are pretty quite a few, but I'll do the best I can to review some of the comment and respond to some individually. And thanks to the rest of the panel that are already offline right now. So thank you guys again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Amin wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.